here I'm going to do some quick examples of describing transformations. So just a little bit of review. If I'm given an equation, there's several different transformations it can have. If there's a negative out front, that'll reflect it over the x-axis. If there's an a value being multiplied on the outside to it, if a's absolute value is bigger than 1, that'll stretch the function. If a's absolute value is less than 1, it'll compress the function. Any h on the inside will do the opposite of what you think. So here I have a negative h, so it's actually going to move me right h units. Remember, h stands kind of for horizontal. It'll move me left and right. K is my vertical transformation. K is on the outside. It's positive, so it'll move up k units. So if we take a look at example 1 here, I have y equals x plus 4 squared. The first thing I want to do is identify what type of transformation I have. So notice that I have plus 4, it's on the inside, so that's going to be an h type transformation. And then I see that h is always like the opposite, so this is going to shift left 4 units. Okay, and that would be my answer for that first example. The transformation that occurs when I have a positive 4 is that it shifts left 4 units. If I look at example 2 here, once again I want to identify the transformations I have. So I see this negative kind of out front, and then I also see the plus 3 on the end. So the negative out front is going to reflect over the x-axis. And then notice I also have this plus 3, so I'm actually going to have 2 transformations on this one. The plus 3 is on the outside, so this time it is a k. And remember, k moves me up and down. It's positive, so it's going to move me up. So I'm going to get shifted up 3 units. Okay, so we can't have multiple transformations in one problem. So if I look at number 3, this is another example of multiple transformations. I have one thing to note before I start this problem is notice that I no longer have it as y equals. This is f of x equals. This is just function notation. It means the same thing. So don't get thrown off just because this is f of x. It's the same thing as if this were to say y equals. So if I look at this, I have f of x equals 3x squared minus 2. Notice that I have something being times by the outside, so that is the a. I also notice that a is bigger than 1, so that is going to, or the absolute value of a is bigger than 1. So that means that it's going to stretch the graph or the function by a factor of 3. Okay, so anytime a is bigger than 1, it'll end up stretching the function by whatever it is. So this will stretch the function by a factor of 3. I then notice I have this negative 2 on the end. I notice also that it's on the outside of the function, so this is a k value. It's negative, so it'll shift down 2 units. Okay, so the 3 will stretch me up by a factor of 3, and then the negative 2 will shift down 2 units. Alright, then lastly, real quick here, number 4. Once again, it's in function notation. It's g of x equals negative 0.5 x minus 2 squared minus 1. So once again, I just want to identify transformations that I have. So I have a negative out front. The negative will reflect over x-axis. The 0.5 is acting like my a, and it's less than 1. So that will compress the graph or the function by a factor of 0.5. And then I notice that I have a negative 2, and you'll see that it's on the inside of parentheses, so that is an h value. It's negative, and if you remember, once again, don't forget, h moves you the opposite direction, so that's really going to shift us right 2 units. And then last of all, we have this negative 1 on the outside, which is the k. And the k being on the outside is going to shift me vertically, but it's negative, so I'll also have a shift down 1 unit. Okay, so on this problem we actually had 1, 2, 3, 4 transformations. We had the negative, the a, the h, and the k. So you can have some problems where you only have one transformation, but you may have some where you have multiple transformations. Remember, some key things are just make sure that you identify correctly what transformation is occurring. So you'll want to know that negatives are on the outside, a's are multiplied on the outside, h's will always be found between parentheses, and then k's will always kind of be on the outside of the equation. Okay?